All right, so let's begin with looking at what we did last time. So we created a AI robot character. Essentially, you can consider it an agent. We created a path. If you hit P, you can see we turned our path on, which is by using our nav mesh bounds here. In this video, let's go ahead and take a look at how we can do something where we have our character randomly traversing the environment through waypoints. So waypoints are essentially a system where you can have a character follow either randomly or on a linear line a series of empty points. And so we're going to look at a very simple way of setting that up. So let's go ahead and open up our AI robot here. So I'm going to double click that. And inside this event graph here, I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a custom event. So you can see there's this add event and add custom event. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this and let's call this random waypoint. All right, and let's make sure that it is waypoint and it's not two separate words. Okay, there we go. So the next thing we want to do is we want to have it go to a simple location. So there's actually we want it under AI. So let's type in simple here and see what we get. So yeah, here AI, under navigation, we want a simple move to location. So this function will allow us to move our character to a simple, or essentially a location on our map or to a specific object. All right, so let's wire this up. Now you can see here it takes two elements here. What it's going to be controlling and what the goal is. So we want to get essentially whatever's the controller of this object. So a simple way to do that is just right click and type get controller. And we want to get the controller of our pawn. And what's nice about this is it's already targeting itself here. So we're going to go ahead and wire that into the controller here. So for the goal, what we can do is we can look for whatever is reachable within a certain radius around this robot. So there's a helpful function for that. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to type get random reachable point and radius. So if you click on that, really what we need is the origin, which is the starting place, and then the radius is how far we want it to go around our character or AI character. All right, so for the origin, we want to get the current location of wherever our character is in the scene. So I'm going to do right click and do get actor, here we go, location. And we can wire that right into the origin here. So it's whatever our current actor's location is. All right, so let's wire this up. Let's put this here. For the radius, we're going to have to experiment. I'll type in 5,000 and so this could be sort of the, we'll see how far we want to go. I don't have a precise number, but I'll show you later how to get a precise number. And then when we get into like a true waypoint system, we will have it diverge from whatever path to chase the player or something. All right, so now that we have this set up, one thing is we're not actually triggering this, right? We're not starting this at all. So if I hit F7 to compile and save, and I press play right now, notice our character isn't actually moving, right? It's not moving randomly. And the reason for that is you need to have this is a custom event. We need to use something like event begin play. And what this does is exactly what it sounds like. So the second that our game is started, it'll call this. And what we can do is I would like to give my player a little bit of time before the enemy starts going randomly looking around for him. So there's a great thing that says set timer by event, which is right here. And I can wire this event begin play, we can just wire that into here. And then the event that I want to play once we start is this random custom event, which is going to call the actor moving around, the AI actor moving around. So really easily you can just wire that into here. And then let's say we want it to go after 1 second or something, and we want it to loop indefinitely. So now when I compile and save this and I press play, we should, after 1 second, see the character move randomly around in that area. Now we haven't built any intelligent functionality where it's a zombie or some sort of enemy that's attacking, but at least we've built a little bit of artificial intelligence here where it looks like our character is sort of thinking or moving around. It's kind of moving around our environment. The reason I brought up a waypoint system or these other types of AI is this isn't really, this is a great, to be honest, for like a zombie game because, the characters are sort of moving randomly around. Or if you want to show people sort of moving around a city, traversing. This is also a great way to test out, for example, like if you want to test out that NavMesh bounds volume that we talked about earlier, and we can say, okay, well, I don't want it to, not the NavMesh bound volume, sorry. Let's see, volumes, nav modifier volume, and let's zero this out. And we want to, where to go? Just sort of block out an area. So say you're like, well, you know what? I really don't want this character to exit here. Kind of test this out a little bit. And we can see that our character will always kind of ignore that area a little bit. All right, so the last thing I want to do is talk a little bit about the AI's perception system. So right now we have, this character that randomly moves around, but I'd like this character to maybe chase the player once it gets within range. So for now, just so you have a kind of a copy of our AI Robot 245 blueprint with the random in case you want to use it for zombies or something else, just right click on this and then hit duplicate and then just name this AI Robot, maybe underscore, I guess we could do AIP, maybe AI. So for AI Perception Robot 245 blueprint. So now we have this copy. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this copy in here. Now what you'll notice is if we go inside this here, I need to add, and we have our AI Robot 245 here. Let's make sure that we compile and save this, and let's add this one here, this AI robot. So I would just want to show you that because we have a duplicate here, the component we want to add is the AI perception system onto here. And the AI perception system, let's go into a little bit of these settings. But if I compile and save this and I go in here, notice that on this one, it doesn't have the AI perception system. It has it on this one. So once you duplicate it, you aren't creating like an instance, which means a copy that's updated. You are creating a completely new blueprint. Now, what we're really interested in is in this little section here. So there's 0 senses configured. So let's go ahead and hit plus here. And you can see there's a lot of different type. There's AI damage sense config, hearing config. We want to do sight config. What we want to do is within a certain range of our robot. So for example, there's a sight radius, which is how far a robot can see. If our player runs within 3,500 units away from our robot, it'll break that sight. This is the angle, it's a cone, which you'll see later of how, so this is within 90 degrees, so you can sneak around it, our character. I'm not going to edit any of these just yet. Let's see, what else is in here? So like if we close, so here, these are pretty important actually, so I should take that back. You can have it detect, you can mark enemies, neutrals, or friendlies. What I want to do is neutrals because I want it to be able to detect every character in the game. And let's see. That looks pretty good so far. If I forgot anything, we'll jump back in and fix it. So I'm going to press F7, or you can hit compile and save. And then we need to let essentially Unreal know, or our AI robot here, this one right here, we need to let it know that we're going to be connecting with or going after our robot character. Now recall, this is our character that gets loaded into our game. So we want to add a component. I'm going to type AI here. And you probably noticed this second one where it says AI perception stimuli source popped up. This marks this as a character that can be picked up by the AI. And so if you see here, we have a bunch of different stuff. There's auto register, register as source. If we press plus here, you can see there's an index here. And then we can do sort of something similar where we access what it is. There we go. It's covered up. So what we want is we want to auto register this character as a source that can be picked up. And then this register a source as source for senses. We want to make sure that we're registering this particular character as something that can be seen. So if we select that, that locks that in as our character. So I'm going to compile and save that. All right, since we're hitting about 11 minutes in this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that each of these are compiled and saved. And then what we'll do in the next video is we'll actually set it up so that this character will actually see our player character.